These are the names of the firstborn sons of Gotham City, just like I was. And like me, a terrible fate waits for them. Tonight, while their parents party, they'll be dreaming away in their safe cribs, their soft beds, and we will snatch them, carry them into the sewer, and toss them into a deep, dark, watery grave.
So, Firstborn of Gotham, what is the cutoff of this? Like, if you were born, if you're like a 65-year-old person and you're the firstborn, is he gonna come with like a van and stuff you in this van? Like, is he taking just children? What's the cutoff here? What's the rule?
No, man, it's his birth year. It's 33.
So if I'm a 33-year-old man like Chip, he's still gonna stuff me. I thought Chip was just a special, like this is icing on the cake here, but he's going after all 33-year-olds. Makes no sense.
So, yeah. It's not a kidnapping. It's a man napping.
It's a man. Yeah. Men and women too, right? They didn't differentiate. They didn't just say men.
I think it was firstborn, not firstborn son.
Right? Yeah,
or
it's
is
like
it first?
It's like Moses over here, or whatever, right? Or the Egyptian. It's like the Ten Commandments. So, welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. My name is Drew, joined as always by my co-host Badway. This is the Last Row Podcast. If you're looking for our website, thelastrowpodcast.com, follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Please consider leaving a 5-star review on Spotify now and Apple Podcasts, Podchaser. Badway, what's going on? We're back. Another week here.
Yeah, we're back. Unfortunately, we're back.
Unfortunately, how many subscribers did we lose this week?
I'm pretty sure we gained a ton. So new year, new me, new you. Let's do it bigger and better than ever. Let's kick things off with a sequel, Drew. How would you feel about that? Bigger, better, higher body count.
It is. Batman kills a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah. So we're gonna go with Batman Returns this week, Drew. 1992, June 19th to be exact. Summer blockbuster, Christmas summertime.
Movie.
Yeah, with a runtime of 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Too high.
It's too high. Superhero / action / Burton movie, Drew.
It is its own genre.
Timothy H. Burton. Here's some trivia for you, Drew. Which number feature-length film is this that he directed? Is this his second, his third, his fourth? What do you think?
God.
I think it's Tim Burton.
I really
How far
don't
down
know.
the list? How far down the list do you think this is?
I'm gonna guess like 5. It's a guess. I don't know. 5th?
Correct.
Is
it
that true?
correct? It is correct, Drew.
Because I knew the other one was 89 Batman, Edward Scissorhands, I think came before this too, right?
Yep. Batman, Beetlejuice, and his first?
Come
on. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes, that's right. Another classic that we need to get on this show in 2022 here. I love that movie.
Let's get to the IMDb 7 out of 10.
Too high?
Maybe it's about right.
It's about right.
Maybe. Rotten Tomatoes 80%. That's too high.
I don't know how I feel about these.
It's too high. Metacritic 68%.
Too low,
about
maybe?
Right. It's about right.
70. Give me 7.
Letterboxd 3.6 out of 5. Possibly exactly right.
But did you like it?
But was it good? I don't know.
So 3.6 out of 5 says it was good, but did you like it?
Yeah, we'll get into it, but this is a strange movie. I have weird feelings about it, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
What's this movie about, you say? The monstrous penguin who lives in the sewers beneath Gotham joins up with wicked, shock-headed businessman Max Schreck to topple the Batman once and for all. But when Shrek's timid assistant, Selena Kyle, finds out and Shrek tries to kill her, she is transformed into the sexy Catwoman. She teams up with the Penguin and Shrek to destroy Batman, but sparks fly unexpectedly when she confronts the Caped Crusader.
Do you like when they call him the Batman?
I don't like the term Shrek being thrown around because I feel like it's like I think of the Green Ogre. I don't like that his name is Shrek.
But he came first, and it's with a CK, right? It's not just the K.
Yeah, but still, when you hear it, it's the people aren't seeing it; they're hearing it.
What is
They're thinking the penguin just joined forces with this green ogre. That's what they're thinking.
Well, what is a shock-headed businessman? What is that?
I don't know what that
he
is.
gets shocked in the end. I mean,
is
he
it just
looks like Marv?
Is it just like the Marv thing where it's like he's got the white poofy hair? Is that it?
But he also gets electrocuted in the end, right? Just like Marv from Home Alone 2 and the skeleton, and it's like literally a skeleton. But I don't even understand. Like he's probably a savvy businessman, maybe not, maybe a scumbag businessman is what he is.
A scumbaggy.
Shock-headed. Yeah. He's not a sleazebag. He's a scumbag. Yeah. So I don't know.
Sleazy.
Taglines: from the sewers of Gotham and new villain emerges. No, that's a typo. It's got to be. But I copied and pasted for IMDb. From the rooftops of Gotham,
a new villain emerges.
The perfect enemy comes to life, and the only one who can save this city is a creature of the night.
Is this a tagline or the whole freaking story of the movie?
Yeah, that was the second synopsis there. While she craves a romance she can sink her claws into, he plots a foul reign of destruction. Foul, you get it? Like FOWL?
FOWL.
Like
yep.
foul,
Pass, next.
Foul.
Next. Awful.
Above Gotham looms its greatest hero.
Okay, sure.
The Bat, the Cat, the Penguin.
You know what? I'll take it.
The next one actually I like a lot. Returns June 19th.
Yeah, Batman, returns.
I like that one. That one.
How do you feel about Returns as the title? I feel like we've touched on this on our Batman Forever episode. But like rehash, like, and maybe have new opinions on it. Like, what do you think about the Returns title?
I think it's fine, but it's still kind of lame. Like any movie any title that's like even Forever, like what is Forever? Like Batman Now and Forever? Yeah. Like I prefer Batman Returns.
I know Forever's stupid, but like Returns is like, it's factually correct that he came back. He is back.
He's back.
But one could argue, and we'll get into this, we'll get to that later, he's not in this movie.
No, he's not.
Like it's more like Batman's around.
Yeah,
it's not Batman Returns, because the movie is Batman's hanging around somewhere.
Batman's around June 19th.
He's not really in it.
Batman's around June 19th. Yeah, no, we definitely need to touch on that because this isn't Batman's movie. I agree with you though. Let's come back to that. So financials, 65 million to 80 million, I think was the estimate.
Is that a lot? Is that a lot?
So I think for 92 it was. 92? And when I looked at the 89 movie, it was around half of that. I think it was somewhere around like 30 to 40 million. And the cumulative worldwide gross return for this one was 266 million. And the last one was 89 Batman was 411 million. So it definitely didn't do as well. I get it. I mean, the first one was a phenomenon, but it did well.
It still tripled the budget, but yeah, it was no smash.
And I think that's what sort of catapulted Warner Brothers into bringing on Joel Schumacher and making it a little bit more kid friendly. We'll talk to that in a minute too. But it also has a couple prestigious nominees for awards. It didn't win. You know, it's become a staple on this show. So Michelle Pfeiffer was nominated for a Blimp Award from the Kids Choice Awards. It also, by the way, it had some actual noms from like Oscars, but we don't talk about that on this show. So favorite movie actress, and she was going against Whoopi Goldberg, I believe.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? Beat the nun? You gonna beat Sister Mary Clarence? Is that her name? Sister Mary Clarence?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you can't beat that.
No, you can't beat Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, Sister Act, come on. Catwoman versus a nun, come on. And then the MTV Movie Awards in 93, it was nominated for 3. Michelle Pfeiffer was nominated for Most Desirable Female.
Ooh.
She lost to Sharon Stone from Basic Instinct. Madonna, Kim Basinger, and Halle Berry were also nominees in the category. Mm-hmm. It also lost for Best Villain. Danny DeVito was nominated. It lost to Jennifer Jason Leigh for Single White Female. Also up against Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men, Sharon Stone from Basic Instinct. I mean, she just won the Terry Silver Villain of the Year award for us.
How did Sharon Stone not win that? That's crazy.
And Ray Liotta for Unlawful Entry. So again, nominees. And then it also lost Best Kiss to Marissa Tomei and Christian Slater for Untamed Heart.
Ah, yes, the most iconic of kisses.
It went against Pauline Brailsford and Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own, Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder and Bram Stoker's Dracula, Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes in White Man Can't Jump, and then Lethal Weapon 3. It's in here. It's
I don't
in here.
remember. I love that movie. I don't remember them kissing.
I don't know.
When did
Maybe
they-
it was.
I don't remember that.
Maybe it was a joke. I don't know.
I honestly don't remember that. It's crazy.
I don't remember. And then Lethal Weapon 3, Mel Gibson and Rene Russo. So I don't know. Do you think it got snubbed in these categories?
Well, I've never seen Untamed Heart, but I thought it was a very passionate kiss.
Yeah. I mean, what about the lick?
I was in on the love story between Keaton and Pfeiffer.
See, you were, because I wasn't.
Maybe you weren't. Well, we'll get to it.
I wasn't. So, I mean, let's just jump right into this, because we talked about this movie. You talked a little bit about Tim Burton in the beginning. I just want to ask you, where does this fall on the Burton scale?
I mean, the Burton scale is dark and foreboding, for sure.
How Burton is this movie when you start thinking about Burton? Like, you asked me earlier, which one was this? I don't know.
You know what? When I was thinking before we started watching this movie, I thought this movie was like so Burton that it would like break the Burton scale. That doesn't exist currently until we make it. Having just now rewatched it, it wasn't as Burton as I thought it was. You know?
Yeah, I could see that. It's more Burton than the first one.
Yeah. Like if we're gonna say, and I think we both agree that Edward Scissorhands is the most Burton movie of all time. Could be debated, but I think it is. It's definitely lower than that. So
it is.
So what makes a Burton movie, Drew?
I mean, there's certain qualities, right? So when I think about what makes a Burton movie a Burton, it's like a Van Gogh, right? Like what is a Van Gogh? So there's definitely artistic qualities that every Burton movie has. The first one is the emo-ness of the main character, like how emo is the main character. So when you think about, you mentioned Edward Scissorhands, like how much more emo can you get than that? Like, I mean, you can't get more emo than that, can you?
Talk about cut my life into pieces, Drew.
Literally.
Come on.
Literally cut my life into pieces. Yeah. I mean, you know,
there's neither suffocation nor breathing, Drew.
Exactly. But is that more butt rock? I don't even know. Like, but how emo is the main character, right? And I mean, you could argue Batman's pretty emo in this. He's you know, pretty sad. What's the first
glimpse of Bruce Wayne / Batman we see in this movie? What's
literally
he doing?
Sitting alone by himself in the dark, waiting for the signal to come on.
He's not reading a book. He's not watching TV. He's not reading a newspaper. He's sitting in the dark, doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, literally
he's not
doing
sleeping.
Nothing.
His eyes are open.
I mean, the other thing that I think about is like, is it so? There's two major holidays in every Burton movie, right? Is it Christmas or is it Halloween?
It's got to be one or the other.
And this one definitely has Christmas. Is it snowing? Right? Yeah. I mean, I guess Christmas, there's a high likelihood that it's going to snow, but yeah, this is definitely snowing. Is there any zany clown music or circus music? Right? I mean, think about Pee-wee's Big Adventure, like the whole thing when he's like taking stuff out of the pet shop, and it's like the zany music, just weirdness. That's definitely another staple. And then, what's the town itself like? Is it kooky? Is it weird? Is it quirky? And this one definitely is.
Yeah.
And then, does the majority of the movie take place at night? Is there any daylight in this at all? I mean, this one has a little bit, right?
But the sun wasn't out. Surely
it wasn't.
The sun wasn't out.
But I mean, Gotham City is perpetually night. So I mean, if you're gonna think of a person to direct a Batman movie back in the 80s and 90s, maybe you couldn't get anybody better than Burton at this point because of just the style of what it was, and the way that it needed to be.
All right, so I'm gonna throw a couple movies at you, and so you tell me if it's more or less Burton than Batman Returns.
All right,
so we're gonna try to figure out where this goes here. So we're gonna go with this first, Pee-wee. How Burton is Pee-wee?
Oh man, it's actually
weird.
It's very Burton though.
It's more kooky and weird. Certainly, it's daylight most of the time.
It is, but I think it's more Burton than this because Pee-wee's emo. He lost his bike. He's really emo. He's got to find his bike. And there's like zany characters. The whole movie is just weird. And it's the first one. It's the pioneer of Burtoning. Yeah.
It's more Burton than Batman Returns.
Yeah. It's not the most Burton, but it's more Burton than this to me.
Beetlejuice, obviously more Burton.
Yeah. That's borderline full Burton.
Yeah, it's almost full Burton. Batman 1, I would say less Burton.
It's less Burton
Batman Returns.
It's less Burton than this because there's no you had the Joker, but it's not like circus clowns.
I think the whole Prince aspect changes the dynamic. The soundtrack definitely changes things, and the Prince of it all, and Batman certainly does it. So we all know Edward definitely more Burton than
Edward
Burton.
Scissorhands is full Burton.
I would go Ed Wood here. I don't know. I've never seen Ed Wood, so I'm going to skip it. Have you
I've
seen Ed
never
Wood?
actually seen it.
Yeah.
No, I want to. It's on my list.
Here's the first non-Burton movie, Mars Attacks.
Yeah, because primarily day. It's not snowing.
Mhm.
There's no zany. I mean, there's kind of zany music, but it's not Christmas or Halloween.
No emo going on.
There's not really much. I mean, maybe is David Duchovny in that one? That's the one where he's like,
Yes,
yeah, with the head and all that
the
stuff.
head. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie, but that's definitely less Burton than this.
Sleepy Hollow, Halloween.
Oh,
Come
full
on.
Burton.
That's very.
That's full Burton.
It might be like third Burton.
Who's more emo, the Headless Horseman or Edward Scissorhands? And then I don't know.
Guy's named Ichabod. Come on.
How did we miss? By the way, is Johnny Depp in it? Yes or no?
Oh yeah, well Johnny Depp, yeah, for sure.
Why is he not Batman?
Yeah, we got the outlier, Drew, Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that's Zero Burton.
The Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes.
I've never actually seen that movie, by the way. But it's Zero Burton.
Big Fish is very Burton. I would say it's more Burton than Batman Returns, even though it's mainly takes place in the daylight. It's just so odd. It's odd.
It's odd as hell, but
that's all tales.
Dude, I dare you to watch that movie and not get tears in your eyes at the end. I dare you.
Yeah.
I dare you. Great movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, clearly. I remember watching that movie next to you.
Yes.
In our Makunji apartment, and I was like, the room was silent. We both knew.
We knew.
So I'm gonna lump all these together because I think this is when Burton started to become a parody of himself. So I'm gonna go rapid fire.
All right.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Full Burton.
Corpse Bride.
Full Burton.
Sweeney Todd.
Full Burton.
Dark Shadows.
Burton.
Yeah. Dark Shadows.
Saw it. Full Burton.
Frankenweenie.
Full.
All right, and I'm gonna stop right there because that's
I think Sweeney Todd, and I saw that in the theater with you. I'm pretty sure that movie to me, it's like, what? Hey, let me make a Tim Burton movie. If somebody made a Tim Burton movie, that's what it is. Like yeah.
So all of this run was in like 05, 06, 07. It's like that's when people, I feel like, getting a little too tired of Burton here. We're getting tired of him.
And I say this as a fan of him, by the way. Like, I am a fan of his work, but not like I'm not like a fanboy.
Oh, in the middle of all that, I missed Alice in Wonderland, which also, come on.
I don't know that I've ever actually seen that too. I never saw that one.
Burton.
Yeah, definitely Burton. I mean, what's the most Burton movie on that list to you?
Oh, besides Edward Scissorhands, or are we counting Edward?
We have to count it.
Yeah, but I guess like the cheat code is Sweeney Todd.
It is
because
it's Johnny Depp, it's Helena Bonham Carter, it's I mean he's murdering people, it's zany, it's just out of this world. It's snowing, I'm pretty sure, constantly.
But the dark horse is Dark Shadows because you got a vampire movie starring Johnny Depp.
I mean,
like come on now, like come on.
I mean, well, so if you go back to this movie, what are the Burton qualities that you see that either you said it wasn't as Burton as you expected? Why not? I'm curious.
I don't know. It just, I guess I expected more. I guess I expected the town to be more alive than it was. Like really, the town was one street, right?
Yeah, they didn't really show a lot of the.
They didn't show the world that much. It was really just from sewer to indoors, to rooftop to indoors to sewer to that one freaking street, the one square. Yeah,
dude, did you see? Speaking of the street, did you see when that guy recklessly took that turn in the snow? Did you see that guy? That guy took that corner so hot. Yeah. And there was pedestrians there, man. Look out. Look out.
Oh, man. Didn't care.
That guy never drove in snow before. That was that a sound studio? I think it was. I read about it. It's like half the Warner lot was taken up.
Yeah.
The snow looked legit to me for the most part, except for the last scene. But no, I agree with you. There really wasn't much of the town at all. It was this town square, that one street, and that was about it. And then the car chase too, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting. This movie was so different than what I expected. And like, I want to ask you about the legacy of the movie real quick. But the other thing is, while this was all going on, and before we did Batman Forever on this show, I think I forgot what was it, episode 92 or something, or 80, I don't know, I have to go back. I don't even remember. If you look at the way that the movies pivoted, Warner Brothers obviously didn't make as much money as they wanted to with this or something. And it's very famous, right? They wanted it to be more kid friendly. This movie was not for kids at all. Like if you're a kid and you go watch this, I feel like you're probably bored, or you're only excited because you're probably not supposed to be watching this movie. And it's like, that's what keeps you interested. But you have like department stores, you've got schemes to build power plants, or steal power. You have like business deals happening. You've got secretaries trying to be like take on more work at the thing to prove their worth because of the gender inequality of work, which is, you know, it was kind of crazy to watch that aspect of it too, just how antiquated it seemed and dated from like the workplace equality too. It was kind of like a weird thing. And I don't know, just the whole general take, just it felt like such a weird movie. It was so different than what I expected. Put it that way.
Yeah, a mayoral race in the middle of it all too. It's like
Got politicking.
definitely, politicking. Definitely not a kids movie in any way. And like
Orphanage.
there wasn't a ton of action either.
No.
So my biggest not concern, but like the legacy of this movie, it doesn't end up favorable for me because I feel like they didn't go far enough in the direction of adult, you know? If you're going to take all those steps but still make it PG-13, and I'm not even I guess saying it needed to be rated R, but if you're going to be dark, you might as well go full dark. And I kind of feel like they went like half or 3/4 dark.
Yeah. I mean,
make it scary. Just go ahead and make it a borderline horror movie, you know?
It was, but that's the thing with Burton, right? Like even Sweeney Todd is still zany. Like he's murdering people, he's slitting their throats, but it's almost zany in a way, right? And I don't know. Like, so when you went into this movie, what were you when was the last time you saw this? Let me ask you that. Maybe that's a better way to ask you.
Maybe a decade ago.
Same. This is the one, I'll be honest with you, this is the one that I actually watched the least. And it had probably the most buzz of any of them for me. Like when I was a kid, I was born in the 80s, but I was too young to watch the first Batman in the theater, and I was too young to watch this in the theater. Like I just wasn't allowed, right? And when this came out, I remember the marketing blitz for this, and the marketing blitz was aimed towards kids, right? I had the toys.
Sure,
I had McDonald's had the commercial where they had the Batmobile shooting the little disc things that wound up becoming the top of the soda containers. I had that, right? You had the cups. Like it was marketed towards kids, but like you said, it's not a kid's movie. So I look back on this movie, and again, I don't watch this very often, but I thought, oh, you know, I can't wait to watch this one again. When we were talking about doing this, I was actually kind of excited. And as I was watching it, I'm like, okay, it's a cool movie, but I remember why I don't really watch this one. It's interesting. Like if we ranked the movies on one of our previous episodes, whether it was Batman and Robin or Batman Forever, I want to ask you, after you've watched this now, how would you like re-rank the original four, the ones, the non-Nolan movies? How would you re-rank them?
89, Forever.
Oh,
Batman,
you're gonna do it.
and Robin.
Oh my God, he did it.
Then Batman Returns.
He did it.
I'm sorry. Look,
really?
If you bust into my house right now, put a gun to my head, and say, "Hey, buddy, you gotta watch one of these right now: Batman Returns or Batman and Robin." I'm picking Batman and Robin. I know it sucks. I know it's terrible because it's more entertaining. Honestly, it's more entertaining.
Hello, boys.
Batman Returns is a better movie. But Batman Forever, it's got Arnold, and it's got enough of so bad it's good to keep me going. This movie's not watchable. It's not rewatchable.
It kind of isn't, and I think the rewatchability of it is the nostalgia factor for it. Yeah, to be honest,
it's interesting. And the characters are interesting, and the costume design is great, right?
It's a really well-made movie.
Yeah, and I think the three villains are good by themselves, but put together within a 2-hour time frame, I don't know. Like it just seems like I didn't care about enough of the story.
I mean, I think the way that I always thought of this movie, and this is why, like, so the first movie, right? Just go back to Batman '89. You've got the Joker, and you got Jack Nicholson pulling an all-time performance. I mean, not till you get like Heath Ledger in the Nolan movies do you get that type of performance from a Batman villain. And you could argue DeVito did it, but I think Nicholson was better as the Joker than all these people combined. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the way '89 was, it was sort of a simple story. It was kind of, you know, and you could even argue, is that really a Batman movie? Yeah, it's about him, but he's in this movie, but I don't know. It's sort of like a weird thing, right? Batman doesn't really do detective stuff, really. But when you look at this movie, you're right. He's kind of not even in it. And it's more about Bruce Wayne trying to figure out his demons, I guess, a little bit, but not enough. But
Bruce Wayne isn't even in it that
no.
much. Like, there's very little actual Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Well, and to your point, I don't know. It's definitely a much better made movie than all of those other ones. But you're right. In a way, Batman and Robin is like, it's worse, but it's funnier. And I like this movie. I would watch scenes from it, but it's definitely different than what I expected kind of going back into it, because it's been a long time since I've seen it.
DeVito's performance was really good.
Yes.
And I feel so was Michelle Pfeiffer's.
Yeah.
And I feel like a movie without one or the other would have been a lot better. Like, I'm imagining a movie, like, forget, like, Shrek can be in it either way, right?
Yeah.
But imagine this movie without the Penguin and it was just Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Like, I think that's a better movie.
I agree with you. So here's where I think this movie suffers. And this movie suffers from trying to do too much. And I think that there's too much stuff going on that it's hard to focus on any one thing, because you've got the mayoral race. You've got Batman trying to figure out his stuff. You've got Catwoman trying to figure out her stuff. She was almost murdered by her boss. And you've got the boss trying to take over the power plant. And then you've got the clowns in the city. Like, there's just too much going on that you can't focus on. I'm not to be critiquing it here, but that's my issue with it. Whereas the first one, it's like, cool, it's Joker. Awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, the only reason we were critiquing it is because I feel like it gets a lot of, like, it gets a pass.
It does.
It gets kind of like, oh, it's one of the Burton Batmans. It's cool. It's cool.
It's critically acclaimed. Like,
it's like, oh, Keaton, Keaton Batman's great. Oh, it's cool because it's part of that. But it's off the coattails of the first one. Really, this one just rides off those coattails.
And I love the first one. So 89 is like one of my favorites. Like, that's definitely it's leaps and bounds the best of all of these. I love it. I think Michael Keaton's an awesome Batman. I think Burton directed the hell out of that movie. I think it's really good. But I think, to your point, there's just too much going on in here. And I think they probably should have just cut the Catwoman aspect of it. I mean, I know that's blasphemous to say here. Like, I'm probably pissing off so many people right now by saying this, but I think that either focus on, like you said, Catwoman, or focus on Penguin, or make them a little bit minor of a character. They try to give everybody equal footing, and it didn't work for me. It's too much going on.
Yeah. You know what though? Like, yeah, it's fine to have either or being the main villain of this movie, but this story had legs to be its own Catwoman movie.
I would have been interested in that.
I mean, not to Marvel Universe it or whatever, but like, imagine a movie where the movie's called Catwoman,
with
and
Halle
you
Berry.
follow this specific Selena Kyle category, Selena Kyle actress iteration, and then you have Michael Keaton as Batman in the background. Like, he's still in the movie, but the movie's called Catwoman, and you got a little bit of Michael Keaton. You can advertise it, but focus on Michelle Pfeiffer, and I think it would have been a hit.
Yeah.
You could have both. You just need a little patience.
I think that's why when, leading up to the Avengers, it's like they made all these solo movies, because when you finally have something in the Avengers, you finally understand who everybody is. Whereas, like, back then, it was kind of unheard of to have this much star power. Like, even just think about the poster, right? Like, you and I were talking about the poster before this recording started, but the iconic picture of, like, Michael Keaton's face, then you got Danny DeVito's face and Michelle Pfeiffer's face. Like, that picture is burned into my memory.
Yeah, right.
And same with, like, Batman Forever, where he's got, like, the arm up and the cape, and you've got all the people there,
and they're all diagonally down the list there.
Those are iconic pictures, and, like, I agree with you. Maybe it's just because these other movies exist. When we go back and look at it now, you almost look at it like, okay, that's interesting, but something has been made that took a lot of these concepts and ran with it and just made it different and better.
See, but it's also like, it's a moment in time that could have been missed. So, like, for example, this movie came out in 1992. If it was the Penguin movie, right, with Batman, we call it Batman Returns, and it stars the Penguin. You got the Shrek thing going on. You couldn't have made, I feel, a dark Catwoman movie in 96 when Batman Forever came out. It would have had to have piggybacked it, like, in maybe 93, 94 right away.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even 94, by the time the mid 90s roll around, it's too late. And we're in a different era of movie and style of blockbuster movies where it's more, I don't know, everything's kid friendly and everything's got glowing colors and the neon of everything, the neonification of our cinema. For back in a little.
I can't disagree with you, but I mean, and maybe if I qualify this and let's look back on it, right? I'm sort of looking at this critically. 1992, I guess them making a movie like this was sort of unprecedented in to have that kind of star power in this type of movie. So from that angle or that aspect, I have to give them credit. Like, they did juggle it. It just, I think they fumbled a little bit on the execution, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. It's just it's too much of a good thing, and and we don't want to knock DeVito or Pfeiffer or even
They were
Keaton,
great
because it's not their fault. Like even Walken was great. Like everybody's performance was great, and the movie looked great. Like everything, it was set up for success. It's just like this is the one thing where maybe it could have been a 3-hour movie, but they just flat out were not doing that in the early 90s. That's not even a thing.
Yeah, maybe saying too short is actually, or too long, it actually is too short. It could have benefited from more character development, I think.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you this. Just jump right into Batman. What did you think of Bruce Wayne and Batman and Michael Keaton's performance as the characters in this? And did you think he did a convincing job? So take it off of the 89 Batman and go back into 1992. What did you think of him in this and the way that he portrayed Batman for you?
Incomplete, because he was only on the screen for like 25 minutes, right?
I bet he probably did only have that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, he kicked a few guys as Batman. I don't know. He swung across a few buildings. No, I thought his Bruce Wayne was okay. And I dug the kind of love story. I thought that he fell in love a little too quickly.
He did.
That's neither here nor there.
Felt too hard.
But he's a lonely guy. He's got a big house. He's got that big fireplace. He's got no one to share it with. So
speaking of the fireplace, this dude has lumberjacks that are like hauling in like entire trees. Like I always say this, I'm gonna post a picture on our Instagram, but I texted you that picture because this is the biggest fireplace I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, maybe it's
a bonfire.
Maybe it's the cover of this episode. Who knows?
Yeah,
like poor Alfred, early onset McGregor's Alfred. He doesn't have the strength to pull that kind of lumber to feed that fireplace.
Did you notice? And that TV was like basically in the fireplace. Like, look, I've been to bonfires before. That fireplace was almost as big as a bonfire. Like, you can't sit that close. You burn. You die.
No, well, I mean, clearly the TV's made out of what the Batmobile's made out of, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or at the very least, the cape, right?
Exactly.
He didn't fireproof the cape until Batman Forever, though. So
no. And what'd you think of Bruce Wayne making Alfred like lonely decorate that tree by himself?
Oh, poor Alfred. He's
got
a ladder.
He likes that?
Like, and the Christmas tree, there's 2 people in the house. Yeah. One of them is an employee. Like, what's going on here?
Come on, man.
Come on.
What did you think of Batman's murder skills in this movie? You know, the way he murdered people.
Well, I mean, in the Murderverse, Tim Burton's Murderverse. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, Petty's one word to describe his
what was the pettiest kill that you saw in the movie?
Oh, the flame engulfing the fire breather.
Are you talking about when he turned the car around as slow as humanly possible just to engulf the guy in the jet turbine engine?
He went out of his way to burn a man alive. Now, to be fair, that guy could have burned other pedestrians.
True.
So it's like you kill one to save 1,000.
It's eye for an eye, man.
Yeah.
This is not Batman. That's not how Batman rolls. Come on now, Burton.
No.
Come on.
No, Batman knocks out. He doesn't kill. Right. That's what we were learned to be out. We were taught to be outraged by these Batman kills because it's not faithful to the real comics.
What
Batman doesn't kill.
I'm a purist of this, but like I guess I'm just desensitized to the movies. Like I don't want Batman to kill anybody, but in the movie, like it happens, and I'm just like, listen, okay, whatever.
Sometimes Batman will break your leg, and you're not gonna get medical attention quick enough, and you're gonna bleed out.
You die of sepsis.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, you're gonna die of sepsis.
Bash your head against the wall. Yeah, you're still breaing, but you're in a coma.
Yeah,
you might as well be dead.
Yeah.
Maybe it's worse.
You wish you were dead.
Before we move on from
what's
Batman,
worse? Yeah. What's worse? No, whoa. What's worse? Batman killing you or Batman hurting you so bad you wish you were dead? Isn't that more of a villain of Batman to hurt you so bad you wish you were dead?
I mean, we do talk about Terry Silver a lot on this show, and the diabolical nature of someone doing psychological trauma. It's like, it is kind of worse in a way, isn't it?
And he knows. He's all about. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing.
He knows. What before we move on from Batman, what do you think about the news about Michael Keaton? So, it's 2022, in case you're listening to this show in a year or two or whatever, you're listening to this. The rumors are that it's true, right? He's coming back in this upcoming Flash movie. What do you think of Michael Keaton being old man Batman? There's a lot of nostalgia stuff going on right now. I think it's cool, but I'm interested.
It's fine, but like, I haven't seen Michael Keaton act since
Birdman?
Birdman, right? And that was
good.
a decade ago, and it was really good, obviously. But can he play a washed up, 1 foot in the tub, but also super tough and badass superhero in this day and age?
I mean, he was in what, Spider-Man for the new Tom Holland Spider-Man. He was the
Okay,
Vulture.
he
was pretty good.
he was in like Spider-Man 2 of the newest iteration.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
that was good.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, I think I'm a huge fan of the old animated shows. So like the animated Batman Beyond, and Bruce Wayne's an old man in that, and I really like the idea of Michael Keaton playing that kind of Batman. But I don't know what they're gonna do. So we'll have to see.
Just make it worth it. Don't just show his face. It's like, oh, cool, there's Batman. Like, make it worth it.
Yeah,
have him do something, or give him something to use. Like, allow him some gravitas.
Yeah,
don't just let it be a show up and collect a paycheck thing, which wouldn't be his fault. Let him actually do something.
Let's talk a little bit about Christopher Walken himself, Max Schreck. Is this the first time we've done a Christopher Walken movie? I think it is, right?
I think so. Like, not even as a bit player. Have
97 episodes, and we finally get Christopher Walken on this show. What did you think of Max Schreck as a character? Did you think it worked? And what do you think of his business savvy?
Oh, well, I feel like his, first of all, his department store. I mean,
would you shop there?
It seems a little, highfalutin for me.
What is it, like Woolworths? It looks like a Woolworths to me.
Yeah, like it's better. Yeah, it's a high quality. I don't know what's the highest quality of department store. It's
like Macy's.
It's like a Macy's. It's better than a Bradley's.
He had like appliances and stuff too, right? Like microwave.
It's better
ovens.
than a Bradley's. It's better than a JCPenney.
Is
it a John Wanamaker's?
This is John Wanamaker. This is definitive department store ranking on the Last Row podcast. Come here for some hot hitting analysis of department stores.
Yeah.
Is it better or worse than Kohl's?
Yeah. Oh, Kohl's is bargain basement compared to Shrek's.
Shrek's. You like his little logo of the cat? Like it was like the Felix the Cat logo.
No, it didn't fit at all.
No, what was the point of it? It was because of Catwoman, right?
Yeah, didn't fit at all to me. It looked a little high priced for me. I'm more of a Boscov's man myself.
Yeah. Boscov's, there you go.
Yeah, so I don't think I'd be caught dead in the Shrek's. No.
Like what is his character? Because it certainly seems like the town of Gotham City respects this guy. He's a secret closeted scumbag. We know this because we're watching this, but the town doesn't. I mean, they're fooled for this, right? Like they know or they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's like he's a philanthropist, right?
Right. He just wants to build a power plant for the city.
Yeah.
He's got the town. He just wants that.
Yeah, and little do they know is like he's trying to hoard the power. He wants the literal power. He wants to turn your lights off, Drew, and beg him to turn them back on. He's
literally gonna turn it into a battery, right? He's stealing the power so that he has a monopoly.
Like for any Simpsons fan, it's like it seems like a Mr. Burns plan.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like block out the sun. We're gonna block out the sun. Like this is kind of what he's trying to do.
And he's meddling in local elections too. Like we'll get to the villain scale in a second here, but he wants to basically have a recall election so that he can get this thing through. It's kind of genius.
This guy would most definitely like be in Trump's campaign. Like honestly,
yeah.
Like Trump has a Max Schreck on his side. It's like it's borderline Giuliani.
It's
like
a Terry Silver kind of thing too, because he's manipulating with the power of business skills. Yeah. It's by the way, return of Steve Latimer.
Oh,
his son.
Yes. Great surprise view of Steve Latimer after seeing the program for sure. He did a good job, didn't he?
I saw his face. I'm like, is that Latimer? Of course it was.
So place at the table.
We did a couple of his movies because he was Zangief also in Street Fighter, by the way. Street Fighter the movie. So that guy's been in a bunch of our stuff.
Borderline becoming a that guy favorite of the last row.
Would you say? Yeah, he might be in the last row. That guy from that thing Hall of Fame. I mean, really. Would you think he's the true villain of this movie or not? Because we're gonna get to the villain scale in a second here. But
Latimer?
Yeah, no, Max Schreck. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument, but
he's manipulating it.
He's manipulative, but he's of no physical threat aside from an unsuspecting secretary that didn't think he had the guts.
Fair point.
To pull the trigger. But he's killed in the past too. Discreetly.
How many employees has he killed? I mean, we only know of the two, I guess, right?
Yeah, we only know of the two. I mean, it's debated whether or not he actually killed Selena Kyle. I mean, who knows? Brought back to life by cats, or if she just like got a knockout. I don't know.
She got knocked out, bumped her head.
Yeah, but yeah, he it's the total supervillain. Block out the sun, steal all the power, have it for myself, turn it on when I feel like it type thing. But I don't know. He's not your, especially in a Batman movie, in a comic book movie, he's not the typical villain. Like, you could say he's the villain of another kind of action movie, but he's not a character.
He's like a Steven Seagal action. But like, it's like Senator Trent, right? Where he's not really threatening physically or menacing. He's just pulling the strings behind the scenes.
He's not a character with a clear gimmick like the way the Penguin is.
Yeah.
You know?
So what do you think of Catwoman then, right? So she's his secretary or assistant, right? Executive assistant. And
secretary.
Yeah, and she works for him, and he attempted murder. Do you think she actually died or no?
See, that's something I wanted to ask you, and I wasn't sure because I was certain that she died, and the stray cats gave her superpowers beyond the grave. Because she walked back to her apartment like a zombie.
But she fell through. I mean, she might have been concussed. She fell through.
I mean, she was drinking the milk.
What do you call those things? Like the awnings? Is that what it is? Where those roof
awnings.
things?
Yeah.
So she fell through what, like 7 or 8 awnings. I think it would have been more convincing if she didn't fall through any of those and she just fell down and her leg was like crooked. You know when someone falls off a building?
Crooked leg. Yep.
Yeah. Then I would have believed, okay, she's dead now. You know.
You do the pool of blood behind the head.
Yeah. But did Burton want it to be ambiguous? I guess maybe that was on purpose.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
What did you think of her? So, did you think she died?
She's certainly acting like a woman who was concussed for 90 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
For sure. But it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. She's walking around like a zombie, but like she could be concussed. I want to believe that the cats brought her back to life. And it was like a weird cat seance.
Yeah.
It's like Pet Sematary, but like
superpowers.
In reverse. It's like reverse Pet Sematary kind of thing. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she wasn't actually dead, in my opinion. And if you look at it, like just the way that it works, and maybe you could just say she got lucky. Like she's just very
lucky. Yeah, it's like 9 lives. 9 lives a cat. Always land on your feet. Very lucky.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the thing that just wasn't working for me is she had like the Laney Boggs transformation. You know, going back to the she's all that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get why they did
Classic.
it, but she turns into this like. I thought she was a little too hypersexualized, to be honest. Like, I found it distracting. Like, it was sort of taking away from the story a little bit. But
the concussion brought out like the anti-Selena, I guess you could say, right? It's like it brought out her wildest, not desires, but her made her introvert and extrovert, so to speak. I mean, I don't know how to say it.
She forgot how to walk, so the only way she could go from anywhere was to just perpetually backflip. So that's the only way she could transport
that's the only
herself.
thing. Yeah. Like the concussion unlocked her backflipping abilities.
Which was, it was kind of ridiculous when I was watching it, and she's just like backflipping everywhere. It was like unnecessary at certain points too. She's like, if somebody just had anything, just throw it at her. Come on. So I don't know. I mean, anything that you think stands out about her? Like, obviously Michelle Pfeiffer did a great job. She did an awesome performance, but the character itself, I mean, she just was trying to get revenge on her boss, and I don't know. She wasn't really like, I mean, she was stealing from the store, but it wasn't like a cat burglar situation, like in the comics or anything like that. Right. She was just trying to get revenge on Shrek. Right. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you were digging the love story. What did you like about it between her and Bruce Wayne?
I was digging it, but it wasn't enough. Like, and that was brought back to what we talked about earlier about the movie, either A, not being long enough, which is not the right call, or B, it being a separate Catwoman movie. Right. Yeah. I feel like there was actual chemistry between Batman and his quote unquote lover. And I feel like it could have been explored a lot more through more rooftop visits, fights, getting to know each other, and not just him just like revealing himself right away to be Batman Bruce Wayne. Like, I like the whole, they got wounds and they know they have wounds.
I like that part.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
And then them meeting and dancing at the party and the mistletoe and all that. Like, it's kind of like they sped up. That's why that plot sucks, because it was sped up. But it was actually good. There wasn't just enough of it. That's my thought on it.
I do agree with you. Like, I didn't like it, but I think because of what you said, because it was sped up. But I think if it had more room to breathe, I think I'd have enjoyed it more. And I thought they had good chemistry as
they
actors.
did. They actually did. Yeah, and a lot of times these half-baked romances, like we just spoke about in our year-end review of Batman Forever,
Chase Meridian
Meridian,
Val Kilmer,
Bruce, which is a great example of awful chemistry and a really half-baked romance. Like, this actually had some meat on it, but like they didn't even care to explore it, or they go, oh crap, we have a 3-hour movie here, we got to cut it down to 2 hours because it's 1992 and we don't make 3-hour movies unless it's Godfather. So
you just mentioned this Batman Forever and Batman Returns. Like, I'm just thinking about the acting. Like, yeah, there was a lot of cheesy lines in this movie, like, I am Catwoman, hear me roar, things like that, right?
Yeah.
But there's also, like, really good acting. Like, think about the acting between her and him at the party. And then think about all the scenes of Val Kilmer and Nicole Kidman during Batman Forever. Like, every scene is so awkward, and the way that they read the lines is so forced. Like, I'm comparing it in my head right now, and I'm just the party scene, like when they were at the ball. It was so natural. Like, I felt like they acted so much better. When I look at Batman Forever, it's just so awkward. And like, I like that movie a lot, by the way. I like that movie. It's just, look at the style of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a director thing or what.
Clearly, and as I said earlier, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin over Batman Returns, and I still stick by that. But it's obviously that Returns is a better movie.
Yeah.
But there's also a ton of camp, and I feel like a lot of Catwoman, her lines rival Poison Ivy's from Batman and Robin as far as ridiculous and camp goes.
True.
It's just the fact that it's overall surrounded by a better story, a better movie, and obviously better actors.
I like the gadgets and stuff in this movie. I mean, we talk about it with the Penguin when we get to him, but like, I liked some of the gadgets and some of the zaniness of it. I thought it worked, and it worked in a weird way. It worked in a Burton way, right? Like, obviously, the helicopter umbrella and
all of his
things
umbrellas,
like that. The Batman batarang that he tracked the people with, I thought that was really cool. Let's talk a little bit about the Penguin, because obviously this is Danny DeVito's movie, right? I mean, he acts the hell out of this thing. Talk about his performance a little bit. Like, he transforms into this guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what was going on underneath that suit. How long that nose took to get put on in those hands.
I think it said 4 hours.
Yeah. I mean, Danny DeVito, and I mean, let's be honest, like, he's not the best looking guy in the world without the makeup, right?
That's his real hair, by the way.
Yeah. So it's like they found a guy that was short enough and like kind of odd enough looking by himself, and to dress that person up even more is like, you're going to get a real freak on your hands. And they knocked it out of the park.
He did. I mean, he did. And I'm going to give him best skullet of the last row. He wins the best skullet award of the whole best hair of the, besides ponytail. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And like, just imagine, like, I imagine myself being in that makeup. Like, I'm claustrophobic, right? Self-admittedly. Like, I get claustrophobic thinking about being in that makeup. Like, put your hands into the shape of the flippers for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, get me out of that. I'd
get your
freak
hands
out.
bunched up for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours on end. Like,
I would be freaking out. Like, so when he had the flipper makeup on, and then he also had those like latex flipper gloves when he's dressed up. Does he have the flipper makeup on underneath the flipper glove, or is it like, hey, let his hand breathe a little bit, just put the glove on him? Because imagine that.
It depends on how they're bouncing from scene to scene. Like, are they bouncing from scene to scene of glove, no glove, glove, no glove, glove, no glove? I feel like if you're putting shit on his face, you might as well also be working on his hand. Just get the whole thing going for a day's worth of shooting.
I mean, it's like straitjacket on top of a straitjacket, and then put me in another box.
Shackle him. Yeah, put him in lock and key.
Shackle it up.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the backstory of this dude. So he's born as an odd-looking baby, I'm assuming, right? Because they never showed him as a baby. They just showed him in a cage and all this stuff.
I wish they showed it.
And his dad is Pee Wee Herman. It's Paul Rubens, I'm pretty sure. And they were a rich family, and they put him down the river. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Can't we get a better plan here?
I mean, just talk about bad father barometer, Drew.
I mean, we didn't even think about busting that out.
What are we even talking about here? Baby murder?
He gives Roger's dad
what's we always talk about this, regicide, patricide, matricide. What's baby murder?
Baby side. I don't know.
Baby side, babality? Is it a babality?
Babality.
It's a babality.
There it is. He babalited him.
They babalited the poor baby.
I mean,
he survived.
So and
turned into an animality, actually.
Yeah, holy crap.
Turned into an animality.
Dude, he broke the movie.
Yep.
He broke the movie. I mean, so was he raised by the penguins, or was he raised by the circus family, and then he made friends with the penguins? Like, help me out here. We need
It's
some
a good
detective
question.
work. Did
So
they say it?
they didn't say, I don't think, but I think that he was initially raised by the penguins.
So they taught him how to eat fish. and all
raised
that
by
stuff.
beasts. Yes, taught him how to eat, taught him how to live. Obviously, taught him how to swim, all that good stuff. And then the circus discovered him and put him on in a freak show capacity.
I see. So did
And
they?
then they domesticated him a little bit.
Yeah. So and then he became their leader.
Yeah, because he's a dominant personality. He's a Cobblepot. Come on.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, he wants to hook up with everybody. It's just
Super
it's
sexualized.
weird. I don't know.
It makes sense. You do know that the penguin is like in the top percentage of horniest animals.
I did not know that.
I just made it up.
No, I know. I believed you. David Attenborough over here.
Yeah.
No, I just didn't understand like where that was coming from. And then the whole backstory of this is he's this figure that people think they saw the Penguin Man underneath the sewers and all this stuff, and then he just emerges and a week later runs for mayor.
He's like the Loch Ness monster, right? He's he's a legend. Like Alfred called him rubbish.
Yeah.
When the kid with the newspaper tried to sell him on it.
Is there a worse
Don't read
insult?
that rubbish. Yeah.
Is there a worse insult? You're rubbish.
Yeah.
So a guy comes out of the sewer, right? And he looks like he looks like a penguin person, right? And I'm not going to judge him on the looks, but we don't know where this guy's been. We don't know who he is. We don't know what his situation is.
The word is grotesque.
Are you are you rescinding your mayor? Are you going to have a recall election? You voted for this guy?
Let's make this guy mayor because he'll make Gotham great again, right?
What's his platform? Like, what is he running on outside of like, hey, this guy won't light the tree because the gang showed up?
What does he know about city infrastructure, Drew?
He lived in the sewer. I mean, maybe he knows everything about it.
I mean, he knows he knows about all the polluting, but like, what does he know? How does he know how to fix it?
So he was mad that Shrek was like polluting the water and stuff like that and all that, but did he really even care? Like, he lived in filth anyway.
No,
like,
it was all blackmail. He didn't care.
It just was crazy to me. So, but I mean, would you vote for this guy?
Oh, are you kidding me? Drew, I mean, without getting the specifics here, Drew, there's a subsection of people that were voting for this guy, and we all know. We know.
I mean, he's definitely got a following. I mean, there's people that come out of the woodwork to support this.
Draw all the conclusions you want to a guy who doesn't have a history in politics, but you're trying to shake things up because we need a newcomer. We need new blood. Guy that's not afraid to speak his mind, Drew.
Do you think that Shrek is using him? He is, clearly. And is Penguin aware of that? Is the main question. Yeah. Was Penguin double playing him?
I think Penguin just needed a reason to be accepted for busting up and out, right? And then he can do whatever he wants, but like the power would have been worth it for him, I think, for sure. So I think he knew. And like, he didn't care.
What if let's say this, right? Is he the true villain of the movie? Is Penguin the true? Because let's villain scale him.
Yes.
I don't want to put everyone through because it'll take us 2 hours, right? So I think maybe we need to just put him through.
I'll real quickly. I'll tell you why. Because his ultimate plan was to murder 100,000 people in Gotham, and Shrek's plan was to take everybody's power away.
Well, one has long-term vision, right? One is a short-term goal, and one is a long-term vision. But you could argue Shrek's plan is more genius, but
yeah, it is. But like, Shrek's plan involved very little murder. People who only got in his way, probably accidentally.
True.
Penguin's plan was to murder 100,000 people and everyone who was born first in his birth year.
Shrek wanted fame and fortune, I guess, is what he wanted.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so let's put, and Catwoman, I think we both agree, like, she's not really a villain. She's sort of an anti-hero in this.
Anti-hero, possibly concussed, possibly seanced by the cats of the world.
Let's put Penguin through the villain scale. If you're new to the show, welcome to the show.
Thanks for making it 57 minutes in.
Welcome. 57 minutes in. We're finally getting to the villain scale here. So this is how we roll on the Last Row podcast. If you've never heard of the villain scale before, we have a barometer, so to speak, that we put all of our villains through. There's 4 major categories, 1 through 5. You can't get a 0 unless you're that pathetic, but we never give zeros. The first is your look or your style. The second is your hideout or lair. Third is their plan, and the fourth is their henchmen, their muscle, sub-bosses, so on and so forth. And then we have thus added a category, a 1 point bonus for whatever we want, whether they're ruthless or whether they're just awesome,
Excessive
whatever it is, right?
ruthlessness, yes.
So you got whatever it is out of 20. So let's just dive right into this thing. Penguin's look. We talked about the costume, but like pretend he's a real person.
Yeah.
What do you think of this guy's look or style? It's not a ponytail, but it's a skullet.
It's a
Gotta
skullet
count
for
for
sure.
something.
I mean, the only other skullet that I can think of that runs for his money is the axe guy from Last Action Hero.
Oh yeah, that
guy had a killer skullet. So
that's pretty good.
yeah, but
That's
like
a
I think
good
Penguin,
one.
I think Penguin tops him. I still think Penguin tops him, but barely. Right?
That's a good one.
I'm a fan of his like long johns, like which is his base outfit. Long johns with suspenders.
I was gonna ask you, like, does
Yeah.
he have any other sets of clothes? Because it's like the filthiest looking, like pajama looking, like underwear thing ever.
Look, he never gets naked, and he doesn't take showers, and he clearly doesn't wash his clothes. He just jumps in that water.
Yeah,
So that's how he cleans it, quote unquote, cleans it.
he soaks.
But like we gotta, if we're talking looking style, we're talking umbrellas, right?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
accessories, right?
We're clearly talking umbrellas, and we're talking his duck ride, right?
The duck boat, right?
The duck boat ride. Yeah. I mean, I want to give him a solid 4 just because of the sheer variety of his umbrellas, his duck ride, his top hat, and his monocle.
The black spit.
Yeah, the black spit. Yes.
And think about the accessories, right? So you mentioned the umbrellas, but just rattle off a couple here. One, the machine gun umbrella, that's genius. The helicopter umbrella is pretty genius too. Who has that?
Yeah.
Who has that?
The one where he like tried to hang Selena Kyle by like shooting her up in that one. The blank shot one, just to be a dick. Got that. He's got the blade.
He's gotta get at least a 4. And
I'm
like
gonna
you
go 4
said,
here.
Can't be 5 because he has 2 outfits. The clean
Mhm.
suit and the dirty one, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
That's it. So he doesn't get a 5. So we gotta go 4.
Yep.
I'm good with that. What about his hideout or his lair?
I kind of like it.
It's great.
Like I think the zoo is like an underground zoo ice palace.
It's great.
Is an awesome spot, like tailor made for him.
And he's everywhere. He's underneath you, man. You don't know where he is. He's gonna pop out of the sewer grate.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah, and he's like a surprisingly nimble fellow for being such a big guy. So and a waddler, a penguin man, so to speak.
He's got a lot of stuff going on
yeah.
down there too.
Yeah, I mean, got a swimming pool, swim all day. The water looks nice and cool. Probably a little slimy. I don't know. Another 4. I think we got another 4.
We have to because he's got that, and it's a place where all of his dudes can hang out too.
Yeah, he's got seating. He's got stadium seating for all those little penguins.
My question is, that's not an active zoo, right? That place is thus retired, from what I understand.
If it is, come on, Gotham. Like that's the type of thing that the mayor needs to help clean up.
And does he have that whole zoo? Like, yeah, maybe I would vote for him if he's going to clean up the zoo.
Yeah.
I mean, the
whole
whole
damn zoo
place,
up.
right? Because he's just in the ice palace, but it looked like he had the whole zoo. So it got to be a 4, right? Is he going to break the scale here? He might.
We'll see.
All right. So what is his plan? You mentioned it a little bit earlier. He's sort of the Moses situation, the 10 Commandments.
He wants to kill the firstborn. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, the firstborn of every one born in his year. Like he was going through the birth certificates. Is that right?
He hit it.
Do you think it's
very
just
well.
his year? Do you think it's just his year?
I thought it sounded like the firstborn of everybody in Gotham. He didn't say it.
I mean, that seems like a lot.
I mean, talk about spreading yourself too thin.
I mean, like Bruce Wayne would be one of them. Was he going to kidnap Bruce Wayne?
That's what I mean. Like I was joking in the beginning. Like, what's the cutoff? Like, is this what is Alfred? I mean, he wasn't born in Gotham, but
he might have been firstborn. Like, I don't know.
I get it. There's got to be some cutoff.
I think it's just his birth year.
All right.
I think that revenge plot was for his year. I think. But anyways, and then like the random strapping rockets to 100,000 penguins, like that whole thing.
Yes. Oh yes.
Or maybe not 100,000 penguins, but like to kill 100,000 people in a square footage area.
While the parents were at a ball too.
Yeah, I mean that seemed like a little bit of a half-baked plan. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I like his plan, but like it seems a little.
It's short-sighted, like I said earlier, right? Because he's going to kill these people, but what happens after? It's over, right?
Yeah, and very comic book villainy-esque, which I guess
I do
being what he is.
I don't know if this goes into the henchman for the next category. It kind of does, but we talked about his plan is, to do all this stuff, but maybe the execution of the plan and the way that he's doing it, I got to give him some credit because using penguins is kind of diabolical, right? He's got the circus, the way that he causes chaos as a diversion and then swoops in to clean it up. And the fact that he's going to run for mayor and also try to execute this, I give him respect for that too, because he's just 1 week out of the sewer and he's trying to fool everybody into thinking that he's got a plan for everyone.
Let me ask you this though. I mean, how long can you pull that off?
Not very long.
Until a guy blows a whistle and says, "Listen, this guy hired me. Now you jam me up. I'm in cuffs. I'm in jail. This guy's masterminding this whole thing. I mean, I'm just a pawn in this scheme. You know what I mean?
Not
like
very
how many trustworthy henchmen or minions do you have before one finally squeals on you?
I mean, he was kind of reckless too. He killed the ice princess lady and he tried to frame Batman. That was actually kind of genius in a way.
Yeah.
People fell for that hook, line, and sinker. It's like, there's bats on the belfry, and then the bats come out of the Christmas tree. That's kind of genius.
By the way, Drew, we've seen Batman jump after women that have fallen off of buildings in a lot of these movies.
He didn't try,
Where was the sense of urgency in this one? What's going on there?
He was thinking with the wrong head there because he had his eye on Catwoman. That's what he was doing.
He had plenty of time to grapple that girl and save her life.
It's kind of a brutal death too, right? She fell off of the tallest building I've ever seen.
I hate to say it.
The table.
I hate to say it. That one's on him.
Yeah.
That's on Bruce. Like he had time to save her.
He did.
He dropped the ball.
Well, didn't he? He saved Kim Basinger in the first one. He jumped down the.
Yeah.
He didn't love her. That's why he didn't save her. That's why. But I got to give him credit for this. I'm not going to say it's too low. Yeah, it's a short-sighted plan. I kind of want to give him a 3 because I feel like the way that he went about some of these things, he used the tools that he had.
Yeah.
And he did it a different way. He rewired the Batmobile. I mean, they took over the Batmobile, which again, I put that on Bruce Wayne. Like, dude, pay attention. Get your head in the game. Let's go 3.
We'll go
All right. So what about his henchmen? You mentioned a bunch
tricky.
of them.
Henchmen's tricky for me because the penguins, they're so damn cute.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're so cute. You got big ones. You got little ones.
Did you have the toys? I had the toys of the penguins.
I didn't have the toys.
I had them with the rockets.
You had some penguins?
Oh, yeah, I had them.
Oh,
they were great.
Good. It's like they can't do much. It's cool you could strap rockets to them. I mean, Dr. Evil would be proud. But what do they do really besides look cute?
Did you see the little metal thing on their head? That's so their brain waves can control it, right? Is that what that's about? That's the way that I interpreted that.
Yeah, it's like to connect with the homing. It's almost like a Bluetooth.
Brain tooth?
Yeah, brain tooth. And then you got the circus freaks who, I don't know, I feel like would have turned on him at a moment's notice at the first sign of danger.
Yeah.
They're
not in that for the long haul.
Yeah. And I can't call Shrek a henchman or Catwoman because they're just partners. And really, they would have screwed him over at the first drop of a hat, too. And Shrek did turn his back on him the second that he was disgraced publicly.
The way he literally waved at him and he was like, oh,
yeah. Well, so this sucks for you, buddy. When the loudspeaker played.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was Batman's biggest gadget of the whole movie was a freaking radio. Was a CD hack.
Yeah.
Which
he scratched on too, by the way.
Yeah, not Batman's best technological achievement, but
there was a couple uses like it's 2022, right? And this is 92. So when I go back and look at this, I never felt like CDs looked dated, but when I was watching this movie, I'm like, wow, when's the last time that I really popped a compact disc in? I have them, right? But it it looked like vinyl looks more up to date to me than a compact disc at this point, which is weird.
Yeah, a CD now all of a sudden looks very outdated. It's
he
funny.
Sticks it into the Batmobile. I'm like, man, what are you doing with that thing?
You got a CD player in 1992 in your car? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's hot.
That would have been hot. No, I don't know. I kind of want to give bonus points just for the penguins being cute and plentiful. But other than that, I don't see much benefit. So
he had numbers.
I'm thinking a 2.
Yeah, I think it's a 2.
Just for sheer numbers and cuteness.
He had numbers and he had volume of henchmen and people, but they weren't very effective. Batman's walking around in the city, not even getting attacked. Mm-hmm. And they did attack the Batmobile, but I don't know. They left that thing in open so he could just grab it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a 2. All right.
Yeah.
So do you want to give a bonus point to him at all for realisticness or anything? I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think he deserves
nothing
it.
over the top really happened, I feel.
All right. So let's recap. So we gave him a look or style. We gave him a 4 for his hideout and lair. That sweet zoo or igloo ice palace. A 4. His plan is a 3, and his henchman is a 2. What is that? 8 plus
13.
13, right? So 13 out of 20.
Totally respectable.
Yeah, respectable. It's not bad, but it's not the best.
I think it's probably in the upper quarter, I feel.
Without
overall villains.
Without rating them, do you think Shrek or Catwoman would have done better? I don't think they would have, but
No, I don't think so. I think they fall out in other categories. Especially look style. I mean Shrek would lose out look style. Hideout lair too. I mean, who cares about his department store? Plan's pretty good. And he's got no real henchmen other than his goofball son.
Before we get out of here, I got to ask you about the Batmobile in this. So we talked about the best Batmobiles on some of our old episodes too, but this one, I got to tell you, it just further cemented this is the coolest looking Batmobile to me.
Yeah.
Like I liked how much it was in this. It was in it a lot.
Yeah. It was the star of the show for sure, as far as the Batman aspect of it goes.
It had gadgets too.
Yeah. I still love Batman Forever's also, but this one's better. Slight improvement over the first one as well. So, and I know you have strong feelings.
I love this one. I think it looks so cool, and I liked the missile thing too, where he went through the middle of that alleyway. I thought that was such a cool aspect of the movie, and I just liked how much the car was a part of the movie. It was almost like it had more screen time than he did. To be honest.
For real. Yeah.
So
it was probably like a test, like a what do you call it? Like a test audience thing. Like, oh, people love the Batmobile. Let's have all Batmobile in this movie. When you're thinking about sequels and about how to like maximize people loving it.
I feel kind of bad that we skewered the movie a little bit, but I think it's just some tough love that it deserves.
Yeah.
It needs some tough love.
I mean, all the elements, I mean, I hate to say like it was bad, but like it wasn't bad. All the elements were there of a great movie. It's just overly ambitious.
Yeah.
You know?
I see a lot of people too that, I mean, it's right around Christmas time for us. Like it's past Christmas, right? We're in January. And a lot of people do say that this is sort of like the anti-Christmas Christmas movie. And I could see it. Like it has a good vibe to it. And I think I could see myself watching it again. But if I'm going to fire up a Batman movie, I'm probably not going to watch this one. I'm probably going to watch 89 or the newer ones, or dare I say it, like Forever. And I probably won't watch Batman and Robin just because it's not good. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
What I say is, guy busts into my house and puts a gun to my head and says, "Watch one, Returns or Forever, or Batman and Robin." I'm picking Batman and Robin, but in the realistic scenario is I'm watching neither.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to fall asleep to Batman and Robin. This one, I think I could catch myself falling asleep because it's a movie. It has like a lot of dialogue to it, right? It's got the other one's like Arnold Schwarzenegger spitting one-liners. So,
I mean, I'll tell you this. I mean, this is a hot take of the century, but like, if I'm putting on a Batman movie, it's Forever over all of them.
Over all of them,
even Dark Knight, even Batman, all of it. Even Batman 89, Forever's first to me. Like, it's not the best, but it's my near and dear, just based on my childhood.
That is a hot take. That is a hot take, man.
I'm not saying it's better. All right, I'm just saying it's my favorite. I get it. It's my favorite.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm curious what the audience thinks. Were we a little too harsh on this? You guys got to keep us honest, please. Just let us know, because maybe we're a little too harsh. I don't know. I think it needed the tough love, like we said, but I'm curious what you guys think. What do you think of this one compared to some of the newer ones, compared to the older ones? How would you rank the original 4? Let us know. Leave a comment on this episode's page at thelastrowpodcast.com. Send us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us. Facebook us. What I'm curious about is this one just because we haven't seen it as much? I know this one is, a lot of people have seen it maybe more, but definitely I'm curious what everyone thinks, so definitely drop us a comment. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, February 3rd with another movie for you guys. And in the meantime, if you're enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser. Really appreciate it. Definitely helps out the show. Thanks to everybody that left one so far. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
See ya. See ya. Do you think that Penguin had relations with
other penguins?
Yeah.
I mean,
He didn't know any better. He was raised by them.
Look, if there's, well, then is it legal? Because is he a penguin or is he a person?
I don't
That's
think
the
you
question.
can. You can't slap the cuffs on him because he doesn't know any better.
He doesn't. And the other question is,